Okay, good morning. Today we have our quiz on characteristics of functions. So I hope that you've been paying attention and really focusing on making sure that you understood what you were doing. This is the final review, and we're going to go through this quickly because you will have 20 minutes for your quiz, and then we have something else that we need to learn today. Okay? So, last review before the quiz. Alright, so everything is based off of this line that we see over here. So first thing I need to do is write the equation of the line. So we want to begin with B. B is where we hit the y-axis. So I want to look at my line and see where it hits the y-axis. This is the point where it hits. That would be where y is 1 and 2. So it's going to have plus 2 at the end. Now I just need to figure out what the slope of this line is. We always use the y-intercept as our first point, and we can find another point. I am going to use the point 2, 1 because it is the closest to this dot. You could have also used this point, or this point. Okay? So I'm going to use the two that I am going to color now in red, this one and my y-intercept. So I always use the y-intercept as one of my points. So we're using rise over run. Alright, I have to go up 1, so that makes my rise 1. And I have to run 1, 2, but I'm going to the left, so that makes that a negative 2. Anytime you go to the left, that's where negative numbers are on my x-axis, so that makes it negative. This would be negative, and going down would be negative. Okay, so there's my slope. So now I'm ready to write my y-intercept, the equation of the line. Y equals negative 1/2 x plus 2. That is my equation of the line. Now once you get the equation of the line in on your calculator, you want to hit your y equals button, and that's the button right underneath your calculator screen. If there's anything in there, push your arrow key over and hit clear. Nothing should be highlighted anywhere on your screen. Now go ahead and type in this function. So that's negative 1 divided by 2. And make sure you're hitting negative and not minus. Negative 1 divided by 2 x plus 2. Okay? Now to get our table, which is what we're looking for right here, we're going to hit second, which is your blue button, and then hit graph, which is the button right underneath your screen that has the word graph on it. Okay, so we are plugging in the numbers for the values that we see, which is 3.5 next to negative 3, 3, 2.5, 2, 1.5, and 1, and then 0.5. Okay, so now I want to do my domain, and remember the domain is the same for all linear functions. All linear functions that have an arrow on both sides of the line, that means they go on and on forever. So the domain will consist of negative infinity to positive infinity, and it has to be in that order. We put the numbers in order from smallest to greatest. So the smallest x value is negative infinity, and the largest x value is positive infinity. Okay? Range deals with y, so the y values will go down to negative infinity, and they will go up to to positive infinity, because this line keeps going down, 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 and the smallest negative number that you can think of is the largest negative number you can think of is negative infinity. But it also keeps going this direction also, which means it keeps going up to the sky and beyond. And the biggest number ever is positive infinity. So the line keeps going on and on forever. That's what negative and positive infinity represent. We don't see any circles on this graph, so that's my answer every single time. Negative, positive infinity for domain, negative and positive infinity for range. So this is the smallest y, this is the largest y. Alright, now we need to do the x and the y intercept. So I'm going to clear out my graph. Alright, so the x-intercept is the point where my line, this line right here, I'm doing pretty good with drawing my line today. Okay, where this line hits the x-axis. So notice this is x right here. So the point where it hits is right here. And that point is the x value of 1, 2, 3, 4. So the x-intercept is where x gets the number and the y will be 0. Okay? Now for my y-intercept, we already know what this is because this was one of the first things that we found when we wrote our equation of the line. So the point where it hits the y-axis, which is the y-intercept, also known as b, in y equals mx plus b, was at the y value of 1, 2. This right here is your y-intercept. So that value is 2 for y. So the y value is 2. That's the y-intercept. The x value was 4 for the x-intercept. So notice when you're doing x-intercept, x gets the number, the other number is 0. When you're doing the y-intercept, y gets the number, the other number is 0. And you're simply looking, where does my graph hit the x-axis for the x-intercept? Where does it hit the y-axis for the y-intercept? Now we're doing in behavior. So the way I like to do in behavior is you're going to start with your pencil always starting on the y-intercept. So in this case, we're going to start here at positive 2. Now when this says as x approaches negative infinity, all they're saying is look at the left side of the line, because this over here, let me change my color, this part of the line is where x is negative. Okay, so notice up here they said where x approaches negative infinity. So as x moves this way, okay, what happens on that side of the line? Let's trace the line. So we start at 0, and I have to draw this line so that it is on the purple line. Okay, notice as I'm tracing this line, what happens at the end of this graph? Which way did we move? Did we move up or down when we started at the y-intercept and traced this line? We moved up. And up means positive infinity. If you had to move down, then it would be negative infinity. So since we moved up, my y approaches positive infinity. Now we want to switch it, because this says as x approaches positive infinity, which means now we want to look at the right side of the graph. Okay, so looking at the right side of the graph, we always start with the y-intercept. Okay, if I trace the right side of this line, am I tracing down or up? I'm tracing down. The movement that I just made was in a downward direction. So if you say down, then you have to put negative infinity. Okay, and the only way these numbers would change is if the end of my graph, or on the right side, let's say, of my graph, instead of it being an arrow, if it was a circle. So let's say we had a big circle over here and there wasn't an arrow on this side of the graph. Then I would say that this value would be approaching whatever this number is. Let's say this number is 5. Then I would say this part of the graph would be approaching 5. Okay? But since it's not, we clearly have an arrow on that side of the graph, as you can now see. Okay? That means it goes on forever in that direction. And since it's going down, that means negative infinity. Okay? This side of the graph was going up. So that means positive infinity. And that is it. I need you to make sure you have the warm-up title number 3. This is your review for your quiz. Make sure you have the correct date on it. If you're even, that should be 12/2. If it is Monday and this is an odd class, then you should have 12/5. Okay? Go ahead and put your warm-up up in your notebook. You cannot use any of your notes. You don't even need a clean sheet of paper because all the writing that you need to do will be on your quiz paper. Okay? You do need a pencil. And you need to do this quickly because we have something else that we need to get to today. And we don't have time for all the talking and the side stuff that you guys have been doing lately. Okay? So please clear your desk and get out a sheet of paper. Get ready for your quiz. Thank you. Have a great day and good luck on your quiz.